Ba-ba-ba-ba. Welcome back.
To more content. I'm your host, Lily.
And I'm Cody.
And this is Ichabod. And Houdini's over there, shivering. I just would like to say it's freezing down here.
It is winter.
Yeah, mid-June winter. We haven't even opened our pool yet. Mind you, we've been really busy, but like my whole thought process was, it's too cold to even swim in. Why am I going to focus on cleaning that every day?
In the going on 2 years now that we've had the pool, we've swam in it like a handful of times.
You swam in it twice, and I've swam
well,
in it
I mean
like
the
a few
first
times.
year, yeah, but like
Come here.
this year it's been the weather, right? Like we're midway into June now, and
I'm gonna get a pool heater. I also saw some like life hacks on how to heat the pool with like
fire.
No, like black garbage bags and stuff. But
Right.
Or like not. Well, that was like the cheapest way. But there was another one where you could like coil up like a black hose.
But again, the issue with this is that if the weather does not play along, then it doesn't matter.
But the black hose will still attract the heat from wherever.
Enough heat?
I don't know.
If
But
there's
let's
no
say you
heat to begin with,
We'll have to try it.
we can try. I'm just
Okay.
saying. I think that all of those are based on the premise that you are going to be using the provided heat. We already have the pool cover, which also does the exact same thing.
It heats like the first foot.
I understand. I'm just saying it's the same premise. So if there's no sun, then it's not gonna, you can't pull heat from cool,
and I hate
from
when
cool
people
air.
are like, oh, like you can't swim in a pool that's 72 degrees. I'm not a lake girl. That's not me. Like I'm cold already enough, like throughout the day, that I want to be in a warm pool. I love that my best friend, my childhood best friend, I basically lived at his house all summer. He has a huge heated pool. And he messages me every day. He's like, when are you coming over? I've just been so busy. But he's like, the pool's at 91. And I'm like, yes. Like, I love
That's
that.
a little much. But like
I love it. Like, it relaxes my muscles. Like,
sure, I get it.
I don't feel... Well, like, I guess during the day on the hot summer, like right now, 91 sounds amazing.
Yeah, because it's cool out.
Yeah.
But in the heat of summer, you don't want a 91 degree
But he
pool.
turns it off. Like, they turn it off, I'm pretty sure, like, dead summer.
Yeah.
But, like, the nighttime swimming is, like, phenomenal.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I also got, like, the worst hangover
Fire that bad
of
boy
my
up.
life because of him in that pool.
Well, we don't have to worry about that anymore, do we?
No, but, yeah, don't drink in a hot tub or heated pool for, I don't know, it was like 8 hours.
Yep.
I literally died the next day. Anyway, I'm glad I'm sober now. I don't have to deal with that. Anyway, Cody, I look so big in this sweater. By the way,
You don't look bad. It's not you that looks
this is not a
big, this
Christmas sweater. I just love this sweater. This is my Teddy Fresh sweater. And it's
Remember
got-
the dinosaurs?
Yeah, it's got dinosaurs on it, and it says "Gone but not forgotten." I love it. It's a streetwear company. Maybe one day I can be sponsored, or they can send me a gift.
Sorry.
Oh no. Okay.
What?
You sneeze like a dad. Look
I
at
know.
all the animals jumped. It's
Genetically,
okay. Houdini, it's okay.
It's
It's okay. Anyway,
just saying. It's my body telling me it's time,
what?
This would be biologically my
like-
time to be a father.
Yeah, so you just.
I think that is
you're adopting.
If you were like a young, growing man, when you start to get that aggro sneeze like that, that's when your body's going, hey, buddy, it's time to consider kids. And if you find yourself naturally starting to tell dad jokes, just lean into it.
Why
But
didn't you
again,
get the New Balance shoes? You don't even cut the lawn. I cut the lawn. What kind of father are you?
You want to cut the lawn. I do the weed whacking. I would cut the lawn. You love riding the lawnmower. I would love to ride that thing too, but
Yeah, I zoom around the yard.
I know. You have the biggest smile on your face whenever you're just putting around,
Yeah. I love it when I run over shit and like
Oh,
I look around to
freak
see.
out.
I look
Dad's
around-
gonna kill me.
Yeah, I look around to see dad. Like,
Yeah.
okay, so like last summer, like it was the last cut of the season. I was prepping it for fall, and we have like a walnut tree. We have several walnut trees on the side of the yard. So they drop these like tennis ball size things that smell like gin, in my opinion. Very not anisey. What would it be? I don't know.
Well, anise is like the licorice smell,
Yeah,
right?
it's a very
it's like pine.
Yeah, like a very strong scent to them, right? The squirrels love it. Like every shed in the spring when we go to open
Full.
it, it's just full of
Yep.
these like things. But the front yard is covered in them, right? And like technically, I guess I should rake it because it just makes a mess going over it. But like I was in a hurry. I'm like, I'm not raking this. I'm prepping it for the fall. It's good for the grass. You know, you're not supposed to rake the leaves from the fall into winter because it breaks down and it gives nutrients to the lawn, right?
Yep.
So I'm running over these things at full tilt. I didn't even realize Dad was outside, and I turned and Dad's just standing there, death stare. And he's just like, both his arms, he's like,
Bah.
yeah, like so, just the body language is like, oh no, I'm in trouble.
Just mistreating the tool, you know?
He runs over the rocks.
I know. I'm just saying that in that moment, that's him going, you know, come on.
Anyway, we then, you know, cleaned up the lawnmower for the season and sharpened the blade and put it away, you know? Mm-hmm. It was the last hurrah, and I just like, screw it, I'm running over everything. Now we have tree stumps that I have to be careful around.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, those will mess it up for sure.
Hi.
You can't play around with tree stumps.
Yeah, well, I ran over that one accidentally the other day.
Mm-hmm. I heard it.
I know, because I came
around the corner.
I know, I came around the corner and I was like, it was a tree stump, it's fine.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Dad was on the tractor at that point. So
which is
like,
good, because he didn't hear it.
Thank God.
Mm-hmm.
Anywho. Yeah, so today's topics are not as cheery, I don't think. Well, maybe. I don't want to get like dark. But I remember from last episode, I really, really, really wanted to talk about this next subject. Could you not pull that? It's very sensitive. I have to get a new one.
I understand. I'm sorry.
I lose audio. I can't hear. Oh, it's crackling. Can't hear you. You were like pulling on it. Okay.
It's very sensitive. Can you not do that, please?
You sound sensitive. Anywho, I really wanted to get into the topic of emergency services and people who work in emergency services, like police, paramedics,
Uber.
fire, Uber.
Uber Eats.
Uber Eats, they see it all, let me tell you.
Well, it's emergency service.
Yeah, for me. Actually, we don't even order that much. Well, technically, it was skip the dishes. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's really bad. That's not me. It was fine until you touched it.
I'm gonna get a new one.
We do need. Is it just the?
It's just the splitter. It's just old and
crappy.
Yeah.
Is it old? Why is it old?
I don't know. I had that like from when I was a kid.
Why? From what? What were you doing as a kid that you needed a splitter?
So my sister and I can watch our portable DVD player together.
Oh, that's right. That's fair. Can't argue with that.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Mm-hmm. Anywho, I have a lot of friends in the emergency services, and I know a lot of people are like, ACAB. You know, every workplace has the power tripping dick hole, if you will. Sure. But
friendly show. Okay.
Oh my God. It's the cats, babies. Oh, Houdini. Anyway, I have a lot of friends in the emergency services. As I said, I have a lot of people who made it into policing. I went to school for policing. A lot of people don't know this. And I also graduated from paramedic school in New York State.
All the emergency services.
Not fire.
No,
I couldn't do the tests. I couldn't do the physical tests at the time. My back was too broken.
Little side note, that would have been one of the things I would have considered doing if it wasn't for my vision.
Firefighting?
Yeah, I had an in. My uncle was close with the fire chief of St. Catharines, so I would have...
Your gay uncle? Oh.
No.
I don't think those are real firefighters.
No, the other uncle. No, yeah. Yeah, well, I could have either, maybe it was just a dancing job, I don't know.
Oh, I would have supported you either way.
Sure. No, my uncle Glenn, he knew somebody from there. So, but, you know, as I said, because of my vision loss, I do not qualify.
And honestly, I think that it was
probably
it was a blessing. I think it was a blessing in disguise.
You'll get into.
Yeah.
You know, these jobs, I also have another cousin who was a paramedic, and it's almost, for anybody considering it, like you're almost guaranteed to walk away with some form of PTSD.
Oh, but you also had another cousin who was a police officer who walked away.
True. That is true. I always forget about Jason, but yeah, that's true. I don't know. Did he say it was for that reason, or he just realized
couldn't stand it?
He just wasn't into it. Yeah, and I get it. Like, and I understand.
No, he said it was taking a toll on him.
No, right. Yeah. That's what I mean. Like, I understand, and you know, of course, we appreciate, and it's, you know, incredible to the people who can withstand and, live out their careers doing these jobs. But, with today's day and age and the appreciation and the acknowledgement of mental health, and as you said, the toll that these jobs can take, it is, the effects are lasting and real.
Well, this is how I yes, I went into policing. I never wanted to be a road officer. I was going to do that for a few years. I really wanted to specialize in forensic photography and the forensic side of things, which they would pay for your schooling and train you and do all these things. And that was my gateway into that was becoming a police officer and
very
moving
cool.
in. Yeah, and besides all that, another reason I went back for EMT stuff is because you need these things for when you're doing your policing interviews called competencies, and you have to I think there's 8 of them, and you have to have real life experiences where you're where's the time where you had to keep calm and take care of something, and being a paramedic that's a very big, that's how you get your competencies filled real quick in a couple of shifts, let me tell you.
Sure.
So that was kind of why I did that. It was tons of night school. I can't believe I did that. 2 full-time jobs, night school, graduated, and
you were a busy girl.
Yeah. Ichabod, I see you. What are you trying to attack? You see a ghost?
No, here's Dad upstairs.
If the ghosts are here, leave.
They're gonna lose
or
it
pay
when
the
Mom
rent.
comes home, eh?
It's okay. We can cut that out.
Yeah, you might be done by then.
Anyway, so I really was involved in that realm of things. I never really saw anything the most, I did a couple of shifts over
ride-alongs
in the States. No, this was to graduate, so it's almost
Oh, you mean for the paramedic?
Yeah, I did a ride-along. That was part of my program.
Yeah, I know you mentioned that to me before.
That opened my eyes too.
Sure.
I'm just. Could you not attack him? Anyway, yeah, I did the emergency. The most I did, there was we went to an accident, and everything was okay. It was a fender bender. Kid was high, typical. That was for the paramedic. On my police ride along, just domestics and everyone on a bike. I swear to God, in Niagara Falls is a pedophile. I cannot tell you how many people.
On a bike?
Bicycle, because they don't.
A pedophile.
I'm not even kidding.
To clarify, if you are
shift,
above a certain age.
Yeah, no.
If you're a 35-year-old.
I'm not even kidding. There's the most people that ride bicycles, the ones that we pulled over.
Because
I was in the downtown. I was in the downtown area of the Niagara Falls.
Oh, okay, the Falls, yeah.
And if you know Niagara Falls really well, outside the tourist area is basically the ghetto. That's why we moved, because that's where our house was. You have some pockets of nice areas, but it's not the north side, right? Anyway, on my ride along, the officer would be I recognize this guy. He's violating probation. He's not supposed to be with this guy. So we'd pull him over, blah, 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 blah. By the way, in my ride along, I had to wear a full-on bulletproof vest. We pulled people over that was most likely armed with illegal weapons. I was, some of them I was told to stay in the car. It was pretty intense for a ride along, but it was I don't know. It kind of opened my eyes to the sense of yes, so most of these people on bicycles either never got a license, had their license,
revoked,
suspended, revoked, whatever. But I'm not even kidding. 4 of them, people you wouldn't really expect. They're they're on the sex offender registry. They went to jail for 4 years, blah, blah, blah. They were actual pedophiles. And I'm just okay. It opened my eyes.
This is all in one day?
That was one shift. I did 4 or 6 shifts.
12 hours?
Yeah. And I was just cheese and rice, this is crazy. It opened my eyes to that. And other things were just the domestic disputes in the hotels, because we were downtown. We went to a call, and there was kids that were so excited to see me, because I was the only female on the that was in this, what are they called? Squad. And they're oh my God, they're what, very young. I'm not even kidding, between the ages of 4 and 7, just innocent little children. But their parents had gone to a fight, and these kids were the ones that went down to the lobby to tell the hotel clerk our parents are fighting and blah blah blah, and just scumbag of parents. He was all scratched up. The kids still hadn't eaten. It was 11:30 at night, and they were we just wanted to go swimming, and they're in their bathing suits, and I just felt so bad. And I don't know how officers deal with not getting so angry.
Sure.
in that sense, because it's like these poor children. Like my heart would break every time in that shift. So I'm glad I never went into the emergency services, because I probably would have drank myself to death, like, at this point. I mean, I was almost there in my normal life. I couldn't imagine. Like, I also did patient transfer. Like, I was heavily involved in that, working as well for competencies. Like, this was while I was in policing. And, like, I think this is where my alcoholism really, really started to push was, I had patients where I couldn't leave their side. They were in my stretcher, and they were, like, getting cancer diagnoses in front of me. And I'm like, okay. A trigger warning would have been really helpful.
Lighthearted.
Yeah, and it was just so hard. And I'm like, and this whole, again, I get it, like, going into the COVID world and, like, people really hating police officers, and, like, paramedics are kind of caught in the crossfires of stuff sometimes, because they can't, like, arrest you or do anything, right? But it's just, I have the highest respect because...
Can you cover him? Sorry.
Are you cold?
He looks...
I have the highest respect for any emergency services. And this is kind of what sparked this, circling back. I hung out with one of my friends. He is a paramedic in Niagara Region. And years ago, like, he had been in the job maybe 2 years at this point, and we always do Pride kickoff party. That's our thing. And this is, like, my high school friend, like, from grade 9, like, one of my best friends. I actually did the American and paramedic school with him. We wanted to be police officers together, too. It was a whole thing. He ended up going the route of paramedic because it's easier to get a job in versus Niagara and being,
Policing.
A 6-foot white male.
Yep.
In Niagara. But I hadn't seen him in some time, so we got together for Pride, and he's just a different person being a paramedic. Well, he was then. We recently hung out, and I think he's gotten better.
Yeah, but you can see, like you said,
it was like shell shock. Like shell shock. Now, this is like the heart of the pandemic, or we're just getting out of it. That's why we didn't see each other for a long time. And, like, I just a ball of anxiety. Like, the calls that he goes to, like, friggin' car accidents, the things that they have to see, the things that they have to, like, I don't know, he's getting sued, like, because some woman said that, the paramedics...
They mishandled her?
Yeah, mishandled me, but, like, she's got several court cases with, like, anyone and everyone because she wants money, right?
Sure.
But I saw a drastic change in who he was, and that really broke my heart. And I just, like, seeing, like, people that I know are good friends, like, the people I know who are police officers are genuinely just good people that do so much for the community. So that's, like, where the blurred line is. It's like, all officers and all, I'm like, no. Like, there's assholes in every job, let's be real. I mean, look at my last job.
Every facet of life, right? There's always going to be a jerk here and there. Yeah.
But, like, I asked him when we were driving the other day, I was like, so would you go back to being, like, would you still want to pursue being a police officer? And he's like, hell no. He's like, I don't think, like, that's a career worth doing, especially nowadays. Like, I feel pretty awful. And then, if you do RCMP and all that other stuff, you're, like, put in the middle of nowhere, which is even more scary, right?
Sure, of
like,
course. Isolated.
Oh, the thing disconnected.
Yeah, we're still recording, so.
Yeah. Oh, dear. I'm going to try and connect. But, yeah, like, it has been a real eye-opener. And it's kind of dark and, like, the things that go on. And I'm glad I didn't go into that. And I think that you were saved from that for a reason.
Yeah, I was going to say, it was probably ultimately a blessing in disguise. Because I have a big heart, and while that would serve me in wanting to help, and that's probably one of the reasons why I would have got into it in the first place, knowing what these people, like, what the actuality of these jobs is, I probably would have wrecked me, or would have, like you say, I could have potentially done the job, had a full career with it, whatever, been proud to do it, etc. But I could have more than likely developed, it would have scarred me right? To put it lightly, like, mentally, physically, whatever. So while there is definitely a part of me that wishes I could have at least had the chance, I realistically am grateful that I wasn't afforded that. Because
I wanted to become a police officer to kind of work with the youth. Like, also besides the forensic stuff, there was also the branch while I was in school that opened my eyes, was working with like youth criminals and like kind of developing programs and stuff to change their path in life. Sometimes like kids unfortunately are dealt terrible situations and the ways to survive, and I get there's programs.
Well, it's like you said, right? It starts like those poor kids, right?
Yeah.
That call that you went to. How many of those kids wind up? Like, statistically, I'm sure.
Yeah.
The way that your upbringing often shapes who you become as an adult.
And like,
right?
and like seeing, and like that was like another reason that wanted to push me towards like working with youth was that it's like these, but then like the other end of the coin is you're dealing where the social workers can't legally take the kids out of the house because of certain parameters are fulfilled.
Very frustrating.
And I don't know if I could handle that because it's like I have a big
hard
heart.
To really
like I can't deal with that.
And just have that boundary for yourself where you want to help, but legally, you're not able to do more.
Exactly. So it's like, okay, I'm glad. And the only reason I never pursued policing, well, technically too, after I broke my back, I couldn't do the physical tests and keep up with I forget what it's called, but every 6 months you have to recert and you have to have it to apply. It's a whole thing. But besides that, I went back. This is before I moved to LA. I was back at the college and I ran into, randomly, because it was during the summer, I do not know why he was there. He was like the head officer of like the DEA and like of Toronto. And then he ended up, his retirement job was teaching policing. Oh,
you're talking about our friend?
No. This was my teacher.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. And he was like, what are you doing here? And I was like, I'm going to LA. I needed to get some transcript or something. I don't know. I can't remember. And he's like, why are you going to LA? And I'm like, I'm pursuing like an acting program. Like I'm out there for school and like I want to try acting. And if that falls through, I'm coming back to do policing. And policing will always be here. He literally looked at me. He's like, you're not an officer. And I was like, excuse me? He's like, no, you would be a really good officer. And I know that you would do amazing at your job and do amazing things. He's like, but you're an entertainer. He's like, you shouldn't be pursuing this mundane job. And I was like, okay. He's like, I love you, Lil, but this is not, I don't think this is for you.
You're cut from a different cloth.
Yeah, because we did scenarios in classes.
Yeah.
And I was always a different character. Right?
So you were entertaining the troops even while you were training to be one.
Absolutely. And he was like, I just felt like I was watching a comedy skit. He's like, but it's in reality. Like, that's what happens. But I'm like, every scenario, I was like, I have to be a new character. I have to.
Cue Michael Scott in his acting.
Literally, like.
I have a gun.
He has a weapon on him. I was also always made fun of by my teachers, the one scenario teacher, because we'd watch Cops before doing these scenarios and like going through like, kicking down the doors and arresting people. I don't know, just to like entertain the class while 4 of us at a time went in to do these scenarios.
Oh, okay.
And every time I would like.
It was while you were waiting to.
Yeah.
To do your,
yeah.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, maybe because I'm an improv person, I'd be like, oh yeah, this is why we arrested him. He's like, this isn't America. Like, you're using the wrong terms. And I'm like, well, maybe you shouldn't let us watch Cops before we come out here. Because like, to me, I'm just like in the character of like these, guys. But yeah, I was an entertainer and I was told not to be a police officer. So thank you.
Again, probably for the best.
Mr. Simpson.
Here you are, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it totally blew me. I was like, what the heck? You were like writing me recommendations and telling me where to apply and all this stuff, and then you're just like, nah, you go to LA, stay there.
Well, it's nice though, because that's like kind of the true sign of a real leader, right?
Absolutely.
They recognize people's strengths and weaknesses. Not to say that it was a weakness, but he just saw more for you on that path rather than choosing policing.
And the thing is, like, also along the lines, like, we had a teacher who had extreme PTSD.
Sure.
her and her partner were shot at, and she was our youth justices teacher, and it's scary to see. Like,
was she working in Toronto?
I don't know. But yeah, like you could see, like she had to be medicated? Told to take a leave of absence because it was like really intense, and it was affecting her job, obviously.
Yeah.
But looking back, it's like, like my sympathy goes out to like her. Like I couldn't imagine going through what she went through.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, anybody who's considering these jobs, and again, this goes back to me doing the firefighting thing. You have your ideas about it, and you want to believe that you're strong enough to do it, and even the strongest people. Like, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if like I said, these long tenured people in these jobs, while being strong and having the strength to do so, also acknowledge, like, yeah, it doesn't matter how tough of a person you are, these jobs will break you in some fashion or another. And
they do have like debriefing therapy and all that.
Sure.
But like I think substance use is like the highest in their professions, and like suicide rates are super high. And like, do I question that? No, absolutely, I understand. Like, but yeah, I know it's a little darker of a topic, but
it's important.
It is important, and I just think that when people like hate police, they're doing their job. You're speeding, they're gonna pull you over. Sorry, man. Like, I pulled myself over because this is how I know.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. They really are putting their life on the line. Not that other jobs aren't. Like, I'm sure they're,
of course,
medically, like, I couldn't imagine doing that either.
Again, emergency services. Even dispatch, like I always see on TikTok people ripping apart dispatchers. I'm like, their job is to get every ounce of information. Super stressful, I'm sure. I mean, not always.
But
like,
you have to stay calm. Like, there's a lot that goes into becoming a dispatcher. You don't just, hey, I just answer phone calls and then we'll go from there. Like, there's immense testing here in Canada anyway that I know of, and I'm sure the States. But it's just like the general public does not understand how in-depth things are. Maybe most of the general public, because I know there's people who understand it, but not all cops. I'm gonna get eviscerated in the comments.
NACAB? Not all cops.
Not all cops
are bad.
Anyway, the ones I know, I wouldn't be friends with these people if they were just terrible characters. They take pride in what they do. They've worked hard to where they are today, and the amount of just crap that slides down their way, I just...
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of layers to it, right? Especially with the policing, and then, geographically as well, right? Like Canada versus U.S. But, just to your point, it's an important job, and it's quite often a thankless job, right? So... Yeah, I just think of stories that they tell me, and I'm like, I would pass away. Like, I could, or I'd be super enraged, or I don't know how you keep your cool. I would have. Like you said, substance abuse. Yeah. Right? You gotta cope.
It's hard. It's hard out there.
Yeah.
So just respect them. Obviously, if they're being dicks, then they are not the good ones.
If they're not showing you respect, that's one thing. Yeah. But,
Yeah, if they're like coming out of the gate, like freaking out on you, it's like, okay. But yeah, if also you are, I don't know, doing something extremely illegal, then yes, you deserve to
For sure.
be taken to jail. Oh. Anywho, that's that topic.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're just entertainers. We are not emergency service workers.
Yep.
Also, just to preface, I legally cannot intervene to save a life because it's been years and I didn't recert my certificate and all the protocols have changed now. So I am a normal civilian.
I think I fall under that category as well. I was trained as a responder for a time, but I think that I'm
But you guys don't do CPR at work or anything?
No.
That is scary.
Well, no, but we have security. They're trained for that.
Right, because like by the time I get security on days...
Security, when I'm working, they're there. They're always there.
I can't remember. Even during builds?
Yes. No. I'm telling yes.
No. It's always good to know your CPR and all that stuff.
I agree.
And first aid, just saying.
I agree, but yeah. We're not liable.
Yeah, like
It is my job
my certificate,
to call on these people.
Okay, my certificate has lapsed. But I mean, like, you know what's crazy? Just a side note, firefighters are not required to have like AMFR, like advanced medical first responders. A lot of them do it.
Sure.
The more tools you have in your bag, the better.
It's gonna help you do your job better.
Especially when you have to save someone's life. Like, that's terrifying.
Yeah. I would not want to go into these situations, even though it's not required of you. I'm sure, like, probably 100% or close to it do end up doing it anyways. Yeah, it's like, if you know you have a job to do, why would you not set yourself up for success? Especially in a situation where people's lives are on the line.
We should look into restarting our CPR.
Why?
You had to do the Heimlich not too long ago on someone, Cody.
I know.
And I'm pretty sure you broke his ribs because you didn't do it properly.
Yeah.
Bless your heart. Mm-hmm. Was he okay? Like, does he...
Yeah, he's fine.
Okay.
He was back for another round of CGT last time.
Okay, good. But I'm just saying it's always good to have. We always
make the joke about the roast beef, but...
What?
Make sure you don't go anywhere near the roast beef this time.
Oh, because poor guy. But I'm just saying, like, it could arise out of anywhere, and it's good to even like your loved ones, like, you know.
That was where my mind first went. So.
My friend could write our certs for us and do it for us.
He
trains. He's a trainer. No, this paramedic that I know.
Oh, you mean he does all train us?
Train us, yeah. No, not like fake. Like, I want to learn. Oh my god. Anywho, so yeah, what else has been going on in our lives?
Been going on. Well, we've been spending our time sorting out that room, but
we've been couch potatoes, glued to the TV.
That's not true.
We've been on a documentary kick.
Okay, look, when our nights are, or when our long, productive, busy days, which is what is the reality of the situation. When I'm not at work, we're busy working on the home, whether it's the farm or just whatever. But to finish our days is when we become, quote unquote, couch potatoes, as you put it.
High five.
But it's more like bed potatoes. And yeah, we've been on a documentary binge as of late.
We just finished the O.J. Simpson one.
Made in America. Netflix, right?
Yeah.
No,
it wasn't Crave. Crave?
Yeah, maybe.
It was like a 9-part, 10-part series. I don't know.
No, it ended up being 5.
5-part series.
Yep.
9 hours long.
Initially, it was one long
documentary.
Yeah, and then they split it up into 5 parts. Smartly so, I would say.
Yeah, so my friend watched it, our friend, and I was like, you know what? Like, it's true. We were so young when it happened.
I was 4 during the chase. You were 2.
Like 1.5.
Semantics. And then
I watched the whole thing.
I wasn't exactly 4 yet either then, if you want to get real
detailed. I watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
That was my entertainment growing up. But yeah, like, we didn't know, like, you hear like
we do the
gist. Yeah, the gist of it and whatever. But like, this documentary
goes. The glove does not fit. You must acquit.
Oh.
Okay.
D'Artagnan, he just ran into the table.
We didn't lose power? No, we're good.
No, I lost hearing there. Anyway, but this delves into like his early athletic career, moving
the whole story. I mean, not even just that. Like, from the time when he was a child all the way up through college, university rather, and then to his professional career in football, then on to his acting career post football, a businessman, right? All of that.
First of all, I didn't realize how big of a sports celebrity he was.
Yeah, I mean, I knew, again, we all knew about OJ, or people our age, I should say.
Come here, Henry.
But yeah, I had you're right, I was the same way. I didn't realize the gravity of the stardom of OJ during his peak.
I also didn't realize he played on the Bills, so...
I'll
just go dig my grave and just be like,
sports,
I swear I'm a fan. Or maybe I did. Like, I just never committed that to memory. But it went through all the evidence. It showed all the pictures. Like, Nicole and Ron
Goldman, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say Rob. That was such a brutal murder. And, like, he was guilty. Like, it was...
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's without... You could never wholeheartedly confirm, like, unless, No one, but
He
none
did.
of.
When Goldman's dad.
No. I'm just saying he was proven guilty again in a civil trial. If that's what you're referring to.
Yeah.
So sure, based on the exact same evidence that they had during the, what's it called when it's not a civil? It's a
criminal trial.
Right, criminal trial. Right, the first one. Yeah. So they used all the same evidence.
I think it's criminal trial.
Anyway, whatever. And he was unanimously declared guilty of all charges during his second trial. So,
but I didn't realize this was like the huge thing. I didn't realize that it was a civil rights movement during the trial. It was like about racism and about
that's
Rodney
what it was
King.
turned into.
It turned into that, and it took the
all
spotlight.
of the civil unrest that was happening based around the treatment of the African American culture and the group as a whole, specifically regarding police brutality and their treatment of their people. In this documentary, they speak with some of the jurors, and one of them flat out says, when we were deliberating, a big part of the reason why I chose not guilty was because, not that she thought that he wasn't actually guilty, it was just payback for Rodney King and the other instances of police brutality.
Everything that happened in LA, which is crazy. There were stories that there was a lot of issues.
Poor girl.
Yeah, it's just they used the wrong avenue.
Well, they used whatever avenue.
To me, it's just it took so long, first of all, to pick the jurors. Mm-hmm. And that whole thing was an issue in its own. But I didn't realize this trial. Also, why was I under the impression that OJ was flooring his Bronco by himself, being chased by police? He was escorted back to his house.
Yeah, by a police
brigade,
brigade. Sure, not blockade, brigade.
They were and he had a cell phone with his best friend Al. Mm-hmm. I thought it was initials AL or something. Okay, Al.
No, it was Al Crawlins.
Okay. But he was in the car, and OJ wasn't even driving. How did I not know this?
Again, we were 4 and 2.
I'm just saying the storyline of what we knew now. When they were, I was this is another Bernstein Bears situation.
Yeah, no, totally. I thought the same thing.
I was I thought that he was chased down
and run off the street.
Yeah, your
police
typical
maneuver.
Police chases, and I didn't realize that he was on the phone with a gun to his head, and he was I'm gonna commit suicide. By the way, everything, he's definitely a narcissist.
He was a terrible human being. There's no denying it.
Yeah,
and it is crazy because from his early upbringing, he always had a magnetism, a charm, a way of manipulating the situations he found himself in. And you could even go so far as to argue that it definitely became apparent that he would use people to get what he wanted. Mm-hmm. But you could see even in early life that he was doing this too. But it was just at the same point, even though he had those tendencies, he was inherently and seemingly a great person, until fame really kind of got to his head.
But I feel anyone who gets to that level, at some point it gets to
Well, not everybody, but certainly a lot. Fame, what's the fame corrupts holding, something like that?
Are you okay? I don't know. I got distracted. I was what the heck was that? Houdini. Yeah, you reach a level of untouchable. That was it. But the thing was that really skewed it was he lived his life as a white man.
Well, no.
In a sense.
He lived his life as an a non-colored person in general. And
but he always strove. He was never there for civil rights stuff.
No. He didn't want to be seen as OJ, the black man. He wanted to just be seen as OJ, the person.
Yes, I understand.
And for somebody who, again, at the time, African American society struggled, of course, it would be easy to want to fall under, or to live under rather, the white side of things,
But he also that's the thing. His fame and money, he built his legacy to that. But also one thing that came up, like that really, I don't know if the documentary really discussed it, was did he have CTE?
No, that was something they did not bring up in this documentary.
Because like
but it was
his
something
aggression,
that we both
yeah,
thought of.
his aggression like was getting there. Obviously, he killed Nicole and Ron.
And he was abusive to her long before
absolutely, and there's recordings.
It's in the documentary. It's all
there's
it
witnesses,
is documented.
Like
that is not allegedly. There is proof.
There's proof of that. But his family had him cremated, and they didn't want tests to see.
Yeah, they declined. OJ, and it was stated, and again we can look this up, but OJ did believe or worry that he had suffered CTE from his
football career.
Yeah, from his career. Well, yeah, the entirety.
But that makes me so mad. Why are you cremating him? Like, there's so much like research that could have been done, and I don't understand the.
Well, there's obvious reasons to do it. Right?
Why? Wouldn't you be proven that you have CTE to kind of get you off the hook?
Yes and no, but at the same time, it is almost like acknowledging that he was guilty by trying to then give, excuses.
Even if he died peacefully, having the best life and never murdering anyone, he was a football player. There should have been something done.
It was very likely that he had CTE, Only in the last 20 years has the NFL really changed the way that the game is played, the rules, the equipment, because they're doing their best now to prevent any further CTE issues.
The documentary really, really frustrated me in some points, and I couldn't imagine how the families felt during that whole process. Even the was it the prosecution?
What about it?
They dropped the ball.
Yeah, I mean it was a difficult prosecution, but they definitely stumbled along the way, and that was culminating in the glove, right? The famous the glove that did not fit, and therefore the jury must
didn't
acquit.
fit because it was leather and it was covered in blood and it shrunk and it was in that's what happened.
He was wearing latex gloves.
He was wearing latex gloves to put it on. It was. And there was proof in the civil suit that like the gloves had been purchased by him. Like it was like a whole
thing. Shoes. He lied about
owning the shoes of the shoe prints that were left at the scene. Like, could you not do not?
Within the documentary, one of the prosecutors, who was then later interviewed for this film or this series, she personally said that she didn't believe that she'd been on another case with as much substantial evidence. Like, this was a slam dunk. Like, it was so obvious that he had done it. But again, the criminal case became about so much more than simply, determining whether O.J. Simpson had actually murdered Nicole and Ron.
Anyway, it was a frustrating documentary. We learned a lot. We're not even covering like the in-depths of what this documentary
again, I think
shows.
Each part was an hour and change, probably, right?
An hour and a half.
Sure. So you're going on 9 hours, if it is an hour and a half. In and around there.
Of information and
very, very
well
illuminating and very well done.
Because it covered everything, not just OJ. It covered the civil issues in that situation. It even like went into the depths of like the lawyers and who they were when they joined they created the defense team. I don't know. I'm glad we watched it because I learned a lot. I didn't even realize half of this stuff.
I had no idea.
Anyway, it's on Crave. I don't know what the equivalent is in the States. HBO?
I think they have Crave in the States.
I thought Crave was a Canadian thing.
I could be wrong.
Are you done? Houdini is about to fight? Okay.
Did you confirm that it was Crave?
No.
Okay, well, whatever.
I should look it up. What's it called?
OJ Made in America. MAID.
Oh, I should say where to watch. Disney Plus. We're way off.
That's not where we watched.
Yeah, it says Disney Plus.
No way.
Why is it saying Netflix? In the States, it's on Netflix. Oh, and in Crave. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's on both.
Okay.
Can I help you? You shivering? All right. Well, I think that pretty much, I don't know, might be a shorter episode.
Yeah, I guess. Is there anything like we could go? Honestly, we can go on more into this. It was a great documentary, highly worth watching. Super informative, very entertaining. You know, to say the least.
Yeah, we
for
were
as
glued
tragic
to the TV.
And just chaotic and, you know,
a lot of injustices, in my opinion.
Sure.
Nicole and Ron deserved a fair trial.
Yep.
And that's not what they got. And he was proven guilty in the civil suit, and he was ordered to pay $33 million. Mm-hmm. And then he was robbed of all his assets.
Yeah, again, go watch it for yourselves. But like I said, it was a great watch. Highly recommend.
Look at this stare off. Mm-hmm. D'Artagnan, he's intimidating poor Ichabod. Ick, you're okay. He won't attack, I don't think. Hi, Houdini. And now we're in the world of documentaries, which I don't know if we'll discuss it, but I watched a documentary not too long ago. I forget what the name of it was. That World War II documentary, and it went step by step of what the Nazis and Hitler took over. Like, it kind of went through each of the battles and, you know, all that. But there's a new documentary that came out, which is based on the something trials. Nuremberg trials. And it goes into it goes into how Hitler got to where he was politically, and then it's
the rise and fall of Hitler.
Yeah,
and the Nazi Party.
Yeah, and it goes, but it keeps snapping back to the Nuremberg trials, which is very interesting. And the footage is all colorized, and it's crazy to see real footage.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But I said to you, because you didn't watch the other one, this is a great documentary to follow with that other
a good prelude.
World War II documentary. But that, I'm learning a lot in this one too.
Maybe you can include the name of that title in the description once we put this out.
The documentaries?
Yeah.
This one? Yeah.
Well, I know this one, I believe, is called Trial of Evil.
Hi, Annie. Okay. Do you have something to say? Your name is Roxy Andrews.
Excuse me?
That's her song.
Oh my god.
I forget the next line. I got something to say.
I'm a hack.
Why do you hate Roxy? Anywho, she seemed like a sweetheart. You know what? I wish a technical company would sponsor us so we can get a splitter. I should just use the splitter that I use for the lav mic. But that's for a mic. Never mind. Idiot. I'll figure it out. Google.
Was there anything else on the list?
No. There's a lot on the list, but
I know,
those are really long
any
topics.
Quick hits? Any quick hits?
I guess because of the OJ case. Just a side note. It is my dream to be a juror.
Oh, yeah. I've been summoned many times.
Everyone's like, jury duty. And I'm like, I want jury duty so bad.
Among many things, I'm just a big proponent of fairness. So, I've been summoned. Like, when we lived in the Falls, I was summoned 3 different times.
But it's during COVID and you couldn't give up work.
And then I think maybe once right after. But again, I had to work. So it was unfortunate. But if the opportunity ever arose, I would love to.
Everyone's like, it's boring. Or you go to these little cases of
Sure, everybody wants to be a star.
Witness. Or not witness, oh my God. Juror.
Yeah. Of some high profile case.
I don't care how boring
but at the same
or
time,
how
that's
high profile.
Dangerous. Right? Depending on what the trial is, that is also a dangerous thing, right? Like you could be some mob boss or, who knows, but.
But I think that who votes what is anonymous.
Yes, but
I'll just deny
if you're
it all.
on a jury, how many times do we see that, depending on what the situation is, if they can get to you to try and turn you or whatever, then...
But as a juror, you're not allowed back in public. You know that, right? Like, that's why these jurors just wanted it over with, because
yeah,
they were,
I know,
like,
they're isolated.
Isolated for 9
but
months.
usually it happens leading up to the trial.
I guess.
Based on The Sopranos and all the other shows, that, you know.
Couldn't be me. Or could it? No, I'm just kidding. I just... Summons me, government. I don't care.
Summons me?
To go to jury duty. Also, if you haven't watched it, I don't know what it's on. Jury Duty. It's called Jury Duty.
Oh, that was...
And it was like this... The premise was a show of, like, this group of people as jurors, but they're all paid actors, and there's only one jury member who's not in on it. Like, he thinks it's a real case, like, you know, but it's a show with hidden cameras and directing.
Doesn't he end up getting money at the end?
I think they got, yeah, I think so. Maybe.
I can't remember why. I'm pretty sure he did.
But he's just such a lovely human being, and, like, they said they couldn't have written it better. It just played out so well, and at the end the judge is like, oh, by the way, this is a show. Like, you've been on a TV show this whole time. And he's just like, what? And it's so good. The actors are so good.
Very cool premise.
James Marsden is in it.
Yep, playing himself.
Playing himself as one of the alternate jurors. He's not, like, the main juror. And it's hilarious. And the case is so stupid. But this guy who they got takes it so seriously, and bless
does a
him.
great job.
And he's just a good, fair person. He reminds me a lot of, like, you.
Thank you.
And, like, I don't know. Oh my God! Now that I think about it, is it him that I follow on TikTok? No, I think it's someone else. There's, like, this storyline that I'm following on TikTok. Anyway, yeah. So go see that. That's Jury Duty. I don't know what it's on. I'll link it below.
Add it to the list for the description.
Yeah, it just... But yeah, we've been on a documentary kick. I also need to watch the Gypsy Rose Lee one. That's on Stack TV. But yeah. I know you're not interested in that, probably. Maybe. Well, it's like... It
is an interesting story.
It's her lifetime coming out of jail.
Yeah, and I mean, we watched the actual stuff on her story to begin with, so... Yeah.
Look at him. He's being a little shit disturber.
Yeah. Well, he's saying it's time to go.
All right. Anyway, thank you guys for listening. And sorry that this was like a little bit of a darker episode. But I kind of had to get that off my chest. You know?
Life is dark. You know? Embrace it. It's part of it.
I don't want to embrace it anymore. I want my life to be a Disney movie, okay? I'm sick of it. Anyway, thank you. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. And we'll see you next time. Maybe we'll finish these other documentaries, and that could be our next discussion. I don't know.
We can always just talk.
Chit chat. Mm-hmm. Two hens talking.
Cluck, cluck.
Anyway, thank you.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Chividyam.